the Ascension? No. Ascension does not. Hmm. Bolt, please. Hey! Topping that. Got there. The old Sun and Shock. Actually, I don't hate Sudden Shock in this matchup. Kills Electromancer before they get to do shenanigans. What do we have for this matchup? More counter magic? Negate, shock, purge, greasy. Not excited by it, by the way. Relics I am. No brain. No verdict. That's a 60 right there. Maybe the Commandeer? Maybe not. What would I even Commandeer? Past in Flames? Like, what would I even... Like, when you bring that card in, unless you're, like, trying to... Like, you need to have a target on this thing. Like, at the GP it was Karn, which I did steal and win with, which was fantastic. But you need to... Maybe the Nahiri's fine. Exiles a Pyromancer's Ascension. I like Jace because if my opponent goes wide with Empty the Warrens, it's good. Flixer, thanks for the fall arena. Welcome to the BSMG. Probably want the anger for the Warrens. Yeah, that's why I brought it in. That's what I'm thinking. Any thoughts on an additional win card on the sideboard? No, I'm just running Planeswalkers. Light side of the moon. I'm running more walkers in the new version, though. You like the new version. The new version is, I think, a full suite of 4 walkers. This version was only 3. It's just Tomato and Nahiri nonsense. Crumble to eat his mana. Just run the Dispel, says Thrisis. It's okay. If we were bringing in the Commandeer, I would run... I'd rather have Relics, though. Oh, no, we've got the sideboard bug, gentlemen. Yep. So there's a third relic that's shown up. So basically, we're going to have to run a 61. That sucks. I hate the sideboard bug. Happens all the time on Moto to me, anyway. So I legitimately can't put this other relic in the main because it doesn't exist. This third relic here actually doesn't exist. But Moto thinks it does. Now, if we had more than 35 seconds, you could try to do a restart and try to get back in. It just ruins you if you try. I mean, this counters an instant or sorcery. That's fine. Guess we will run it back after all. But we will have to run a 61 because, see how the sideboard now says 15? It's the worst bug you can get. There are 3 relics, but only 2 actually exist. By the way. See? If you try to hit submit at 60, you can't. You have to run a 61 because the sideboard has to be 15. Or Moto can just crash on us. Uh-oh. Okay. Submission received. Oh, it worked! Nice! He must have had the same error. Look at this guy. He's at 61. I think we got it to work. It says 60. Can we add the third relic? No, I tried, Lamar. You can't. But it looks like it let us submit a 60. I wonder if he had the same error just now because his deck is 61. My opponent's deck is a 61 right now. Missed that about the threats. Oh, light side of the moon. I said I only run some walkers. I'm very threat light. What's in the deck is to... oh, I don't know. It said submission received, Barkeem. I don't know what it did. But it didn't bug out. But I'm assuming my opponent is wondering why he's on 61. If you look at his deck, it's 61. Ours managed to get submitted as a 60. So I wonder if he was experiencing the same... No, light side of the moon. I'm adding a 4th walker in the future if you want to see. I'm adding... at the GP, I just had some walkers. I was very threat light at the GP as well. Just fine. You can still day 2 with a threat light deck. It's not that hard. I think more threats though would be nice on Magic Online. In paper, it's easier to move quickly. Magic Online's not exactly as forgiving. What's my Ijun matchup? What's my Abzan matchup? A lot of those decks actually weren't. I guess I'd keep this. I would say Jund is harder than Abzan, but Abzan's not much easier. They're both difficult, I would say. Game 1. Game 2 and 3, they're easier. If you want to be better against those strategies, which I played very few of, actually. The only Jund-like deck I played that I remember off the top of my head was I played somebody playing like Mardudu mid-range. I sat near a lot of Jund, though, so I certainly was doing, I mean, no matter where you go, as you move up or move down in a tournament, you're going to be facing, some Jund. I was sitting next to a lot of Jund. I, for whatever reason, didn't get paired against a lot of Jund. I did get paired against some Mardu. I saw a lot of Grixis, wasn't paired against it for the most part. So, Balls McGee, it was Grizzle Brains. Or Brain Nauseum. Those are the two other brain decks we were thinking about taking. So, Grizzle Brains was, instead of using Through the Breach, it used Breaking and Brain. The Ad Nauseam deck actually, instead, it foregoed some of the, in my opinion, I mean they're not terrible. I mean Ad Nauseam took the GP, but it foregoed some of the cantrips to run a brain package, which is kind of instead. In our testing, the Bird Army was nice. It gave the deck. It gave Ad Nauseam like blockers against like, oh, speaking of which, Infect, which was nice. Strand Go. There are other little nice nuances I can't really go into about why the brain was nice in some of those decks instead. Yes, I was adjacent. The Grixis matchup, I don't know. I didn't play it once. I have a buddy who we tested the Grixis matchup. He was playing Grixis, the Ancestral one. Pretty much it came down to if he could sneak through an Ancestral, he would win. If he didn't, I would probably win. But that's fine. The Ancestral would take him a long time, though. And I run a lot more hard permission than most Blue-Red normally does. Just nice. Let's change the title, by the way. We decided to go with, instead of Standard, we decided to go with what? We decided to go with Modern instead. What was y'all's, Grizzlebrain? I'd love to see your list, Balls McGee, so we can compare. Our Grizzlebrains was just very just focused, just brains, breakings, and Goryo's vengeances, and then looting effects, and that was it. And then the 4 fatties. I don't think it was really trying to do the whole like Grishol brand thing. Not really. It was trying to do. Hang on a second. Those are easy war off. The creature heavy matchups are pretty darn easy. Not really. It was trying to do. Those are relatively easy. Would it probably be worth running? Only if you were trying to set up the land destruction turn, maybe. Could you post a list for the standard pack? Sure. This was. Remember, this is a J-Bone list. He built it for me with some of my specifications. I mean, we worked on it together, but this is his deck. This is his archetype. He was one of the first that I'm aware of to be messing around with Pact. He's a pretty innovative guy. He's one of our guest stars for the Pauper Tournament. By the way, guys, Pauper Tournament's tomorrow. Here's your screenshot, friend. Don't miss out. It's a lot of fun. I think Jeff Hoogland's playing again. I think this is Jeff's group. No worries, Fat Fighter. That's for you. Okay, so he's kind of done over there. Okay. I mean, I would almost Helix here. He's at 15. I would almost just fire off a Helix, even at the cost of life points. Just fine. Sometimes you just turn into a glorified burn deck. I mean, people say, blue-red's threat light, but they kind of forget that in like longer grindier games, as long as you keep in a reasonable amount of burn, you'll just slowly but surely burn them out. Your move. So that's why I kind of like left in a lot of the burn. Like if I'm going to answer Electromancer, I want it to be Sudden Shock in this matchup. Another Helix brings him to 9. He's going to 8 here, it looks like. Or excuse me, he's going to... I'm thinking of already Helixing. So he goes to 11. If we Helix, that's 8. Yeah, the Sudden Shock's been great, Barkeem. Arcbound Ravager, Scavenging Ooze. I guess in this matchup, it's Electromancer. In fact, it hits all the relevant threats. It gets you around Spellskite. Yeah, it's fine. You can have Electroman. Now here's something to think about. Even if I sudden, he does get to stick the Pyromancer's Ascension. He's flashing back a Raving. But then you're tapped out. That's fine. Do I have enough burn to like ignore the Electroman? I don't think so. Like, Helix puts him to 8. Sudden puts him to 6. Snap. No, I don't. I have to kill this. I think it's still correct to Sudden Shock it. And save the extra damage point on the Helix. We didn't go all that. We had a 1 of Beck Call as a tutor target Balls McGee because people were trying to shut off the graveyard in our testing. So Balls McGee, I recommend like another triggerable fusion spell, like a 1 of Beck Call actually, which was really nice because your opponents would have some graveyard hate potential. You need to be careful though because if they're hitting on the Brain, that's another story. The nice thing about the Brain Nauseum was adding like a singleton copy of Brain or Beck Call even gives the deck multiple angles that the deck normally doesn't have. Like the Grishelbrand list, if it's not going through the graveyard, it has to go through the hand. And
this is your last chance.
I mean, if I'm gonna find another target for this model.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You know what I'd almost do here? I'd almost Snapcaster Mage so I have access to this Sudden Shock before he gets priority.
Take the red pill. Take the blue pill.
I almost would just Snapcaster Mage here, giving flashback to the Sudden Shock, and then we can kill the Electromancer without him getting a little bit out of control. This seems fine. Seems fine. This might be a misstep on my part. Hang on, we don't have to do it just yet. We did already fetch, that's true, but I don't have to go for the Snapcaster. I mean, the Negate and the Muddle seem a little anemic here. Maybe that's me overthinking things. Yeah, just like a 1 of. Barkeem says he still gets... I know he still gets priority on the first spell. I'm fully aware of that, Barkeem. But if I go to flash in the Snap and go for the Sudden later, it won't work. I mean, another way to approach this is just hope that the Helix plus Negate or Helix plus Muddle is enough, Barkeem. And that's fine. You could go for that line too. I think there's merit to both lines. I think I like the Snapcaster Sudden Shock line better because it gives me a clock. So I'm going to go with this line instead. But yeah, you could just hope to sit back on Helix. He does get 1 spell. You're right. He does. That's how that works. You know, he does get priority here. I mean, the damage may already be done, you know. Because we're going to have 4 mana floating. Maybe he has another... I mean, if he has the empty anyways, we're in a rough spot. If he has the Pass in Flames, we might be in a rough spot. Go for the Flooded Strand flashback. There's the Ascension. Okay. Well, actually gets as many spells as you can cast without passing priority. What are you talking about? Oh, if they were all instants, you're right. He could have fired off some more rituals, couldn't he? Are you sure about